Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster by your side, kid. Welcome back, everyone. Here we are. This is for issue 91. And as suggested, this is going to be a multi-part. I have zero doubt this will be a multi-part video. So in this, or not video, but issue. So in this issue, let me just try to get this out of the road so we don't burn ourselves. So we're going to talk about the Star Commuter Shuttle. And you would have seen this in Rebels for sure. And then we're going to go to Zygeria, the world of slavery. And then we're going to go right into our next parts. So we're getting a diffuser this time. Supposed to put that in. And then it starts talking about painting the mandibles. So one of the things, very interesting, it used silly putty as well. But very interestingly, it suggests painting the inside of the mandibles. So I will be doing that before I mount them because in this issue, I'm supposed to mount them. I may not get to them mounted this issue. I don't think there's not like a huge hurry to do that, but I am going to definitely get the weathering painting done on the inside. So what we're going to work on is the LEDs. Okay, so we have these LEDs here, and I need to get myself some double-sided tape to attach those down. But we have our old LEDs here. Let me pull this one out, and here's the other one. So here's the old LEDs, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this glue off of here. I think it's just hot glue. So it should come right up because that stuff doesn't stick to anything. So that was just on there for a bit of insulation. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these off here so that way, one, we can use these wires. That might be very, very much necessary. But what we need to do as well is we need to get our power wire hooked into the DFRobot. This is a DFRobot Beetle, and it's a like a little Arduino, and my boss Leon gave me this, which was very gracious of him. I did do some checking, and these are fairly cheap. I wouldn't say cheap. I would say reasonable. You can buy one of these for like $8 or something like that. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to I need to figure out which pin I'm going to use for the digital out. So there's digital on this side, analog on this side. There's also a couple of digital pins down here. I'm not going to use the digital pins down here. I'm just going to use one of these here. So we just need to make sure that we have a digital input or output, I should say, to go to the LEDs. So here's our old LEDs, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull these. I'm going to just use a soldering iron, pull these wires off so I can use these wires because I have a connector here. And then I also have this one. So this one I'm going to use to, I'm going to probably cut it in half. And that will give me two sets of wires. Actually, I don't even need it to be in half. I only need it to be about that long because from here, I just need to be able to power this, and this is going to have a digital out that's going to go to these LEDs. So these LEDs have 3 pins. You have a positive, a negative, and a digital, basically an input. You can see here, you can see the 3 pins there. So we're going to get those put together, and I don't know which one's which as far as positive, negative, and digital, but I will figure that out. So I just need this to be long enough to be able to plug into the circuit board and also then be able to, plug in the circuit board and then do this. And then what I'm going to do is have some double-sided tape and put it on here so I can mount that. But I also have this board here, and one of the things I do need to check with, my boss also gave me this as a voltage regulator that you can set up, and he set it up already for, it has 6 volts in, 6 to 15 volts in, and it outputs 4.8 volts. He said that was important for the LEDs, but I do know it's also important for this. So I need to find out from him if I can basically, if this will support powering both the board and the LEDs for the output, or if this was only for the LEDs. Otherwise, I will have to get, I think it's a 100 ohm resistor with that is at least 1/10 of a amp in order to do a voltage drop from 6.4, was the last time I checked the voltage on my Falcon, to 5 volts. I'll probably go a little bit heavier so I can stay below that 5 volt threshold. So maybe 150 ohms, something like that. That should get me there. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to need all of this, but I would like to use it for, if possible, maybe I can use it on the voltage out from here to the LEDs. So yeah, let's just see if we can do that. I have this going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tin these ends, and it won't take very much, but so I've just put a little bit of flux on the wire, and it's such a small amount that you can't even really tell. But I got some flux on here, and flux makes the world go around when you're talking about soldering. Okay, I need to have a little bit of solder for this, and this is going to be nice and simple. All right, so one at a time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick touch, and you can see, let me get this set down here. Try not to burn down my, you can see, if you look just right, you can see where the solder is and the wire begins. So these are ready to go. And what we have here, see if you can see this. So this side is the positive, this side's the negative. So all I have to do is solder like this. All I need to do is get this solder to melt, and then there we go. That side is soldered. And same thing for this side. What I will do, I want to get these so they're more in line. One of the things I do hate doing is handling these things too many times when you're soldering. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this up in here and get it in a position where I can remove these. Okay, 2 LEDs and 2 cables. So what I'm going to do is See, I need one of these I have to sacrifice. Let's get to connecting our digital line. We're going to connect the digital line up to this. And so our digital side is this side here. So we have D9, 10, and 11. So I'm going to go with digital 10. No, I'll go with digital 9 because then that'll get me closer to where my LEDs are. So we may need a longer wire than this, but we'll see if we can make this work. If not, I'll just have to put another wire on it. There we go. All right, so I have this all wired up. This other side of this wire, let me just get this back in here. This side of the wire we'll need to strip. It's always a good idea. There we go. It's always a good idea when you're using wires that you're using different colors. So in this case, we have specific colors for our power in, black and red, and black being our negative, and red being the positive, which is different than what you're seeing for house wiring. In house wiring, black would be the hot or the positive, and but anytime you're talking about DC, black is always ground, or you could think of it as negative, but it's essentially ground, and whatever other color, usually red, is going to be your power, your positive voltage. We're just going to tin this real quick. Do this up here so you can see it. You can see this wire is copper, so you'll really be able to tell when I get it tinned. So you can see just a little bit of copper right by the blue, and everything else is silver from the solder. That's all you have to do to tin a wire. Just nice and quick, nothing special. But this is going to be ready to go. Have our digital out to our LEDs. Now we'll need to figure out what these LEDs need to be wired at. Welcome back, everybody. So I know what the pinout is for these, and let me show the picture here. And it's what I thought it was going to be, but it's always important to find out for sure. All right, so one of the things I do need to do is I found out from Leon, my boss, boss. He told me that this should be able to handle both the Beetle, which is what this is, and the LEDs for power. So what that's going to allow me to do is put my power into here, and my output will go to both the Beetle and the LEDs. So I'll just need to replace these wires, and we'll start with the voltage in. So first thing I need to do is pull these wires off of here. Christmas, come on now. remove these wires from here, and boy, curly thing. So that way I can attach them to there. So let's go ahead and get started with that. There we go. So we got even more off of that side. So much so that you can see the hole. And voltage in. Now, I don't know the best way to hold on to this while I'm soldering it. Let's just, since we don't have any power going to it. So now we can plug this in, get our power in. And now we just need to take care of the voltage outside. So voltage out. We do have this. We can use this. I am still going to need something to go to the LEDs. So I should probably use this for that. I suppose I could have left this on. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go from this to the Beetle, and then on the Beetle I'll do it coming in as well as the out to the resistor or the LEDs. Okay, so what I've done, and I don't know if you can see it, what I've done is I've just kind of loosely twisted these together, only because when I solder these here, I want them to solder at the same time, and I just need them to be mechanically held together while I'm doing that. So this is the advantage of having a hole. I don't know if you guys can see that. So what I did was I stuck the wire through the bottom into the hole. What that allows me to do is actually bend the wire over, which will hold it in place while I solder it. And I can do that with both of them. Beautiful. All right, let me show you how that one turned out. So you can see on this side, what I had to do is just kind of hold the wires in place and touch them to the solder. Doesn't look too bad. Still a bit too much solder. This side, I used the hole, and if you can see it, let's see if we can get it to focus properly. It doesn't help that it's nice and shiny, which we want it to be shiny. You can just basically make out where the wire is. And so I feel pretty confident that is doing exactly what we want it to do. So with that, I should have used this wire. And now that means I have to remove this wire from this side of the voltage regulator, which won't be difficult. It's just a small little pad, a little bit of solder, and then there we go. All right. So now we can see we have our voltage in, and the voltage in is it'll take between 6 and 15 volts DC, which it's four AAA or AA batteries that it uses. So last time I checked, the voltage was 6.4, so that's good. So I can use 6 volts coming in, and it's going to do the output of 4.8 volts, which puts us, you can see our in and out, which our output of 4.8 puts us in perfect voltage for both the Beetle, which needs like between 4.5 and 5 volts, and the LEDs, which are going to be, they're going to be wanting about no more than 5 volts. So 4.8 volts is perfect for the LEDs as well. And with that, we can then start connecting up the LEDs. So we have that. We just need to get wired to one side of the LEDs. Then we'll need to solder some wires in between the two strips that we have. And then from there, we will be able to then get ready to start programming. So let's set this off to the side while we get the LEDs situated. It's always important when you're looking at these that you don't have any solder going between the two or the three. So there's no solder bridging any of the gaps. So we're good to go there. Now that we have that, we can then work on, we're going to need to get some solder, tin the ends of this. So that's this one. Let's go ahead and get our other one set up. Oh, this one's already got it. So all we need now is some wire. All right. So I have everything tinned. Now it's just a matter of getting everything soldered in place. We now have everything wired up, ready to go. All we have to do now is power it up and start programming it. So let's go ahead and start getting set up for that, and we'll see how that goes. See you guys in a few. Welcome Welcome back, everybody. So, off camera, I changed these jumpers here. I went with something much smaller because I wanted to get these LEDs closer together. Not quite as close as I would like, but it will definitely serve the purpose. So what I did was I stripped a bunch of this off and tinned the wire, and then I just uh, soldered it on one spot, cut it, and then soldered all three, and then butted the ends up and soldered them the other way around. So that is now done. We're going to switch over, and I'm going to basically give you a preview for the next video. So this is going to wrap up this video here, and I'll give you a preview for what we're going to do in the next video. So see you over at the computer. All right, here we are at the computer. So one of the advantages of using these LEDs is we can program them. And this is very important if we want to add some sort of effect or what have you. So I thought that it might be nice to add effect to it. And plus the LEDs that we have, they won't even light up until we actually tell them to do something. So in order to program them, we need, because we're using an Arduino, we need an Arduino LED or IDE to program them. So next time, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of using this IDE. We're going to have to download a library that will help us actually program these the way that we want to, and all of those things. So we're going to go through that entire process, and you'll be able to follow along with what I do to program these LEDs to accomplish what I'm hoping that I can make them do. So that's what we'll be doing in the next video. With that, I want to say thank you all for watching, and may the force be with you always.